I guess they just be
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt. I am with Illinois WorkNet, and we are doing the Community Youth Employment Program technical assistance. I have taken attendance of the people that had put their names in the right way so that I could see who it is. And then I will bring this back up at the end. We need to be off this call by 2:15. So I will move on right now. We're talking about numbers today. And I went through these numbers this morning. So if you've done some work since 10 o'clock on these numbers, this will be wrong. But what I want you to see is there are some green places on this chart. And I will post this on the help on the partner page. There are some green spaces. That means that y'all did a good job bringing some numbers down. But if you notice, there are very few green spots, and there are still a lot of red. The red numbers mean that it was either the same as the last time that we talked about them on February 4th, or they have gotten worse than the last time. And somebody needs to mute their phone. I'm tired of telling this to everybody. Y'all are adults. You should be able to do this on your own. Then the next piece is if it is a red number with a yellow highlight, for example, this Asian Human Services one here, that means that it's the same as it was last time, then there has been no change. If it's a dark gold over it, that means it's the third time that it's the same. And we need to start getting these numbers fixed. This is a number from the entire program life. So this is like all of those programs. Who needs to schedule a one-on-one session with me? If you need to do that, speak up now so that I can put a note by your agency name so that we can get something scheduled. If you want to put it in the chat, you can do that. Because there are some things on here that need to be fixed and need to be taken care of. So, like for example, we've got a couple of numbers here with no placements, 132 from Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. We've got 166 that need payroll entered for Centers for New Horizon. We've got 112 no placements for Phalanx Family Services. We've got 150 no placements for Puerto Rican Cultural Center. Then up here we've got under eligibility review past 5 days, Leadership Development Institute is 105. So some of these numbers mean that you guys don't know how to use the Illinois WorkNet system, and I am offering to you one-on-one sessions to help you go through these pieces to make sure that you understand how to use the system. So who needs some guidance in these areas? Or do you have a quick question right now that we can answer? Because I have test open, I can show you how to do some of these things.
Dee, this is Hiwate from Asian Human Services.
Sure.
We've been trying to make adjustments to the no placement and no payroll numbers, but we really haven't been able to change those. Even though they have a payroll uploaded, they're still showing up as having no payroll. So that was an issue. I was thinking maybe we could have a sit down with you or anyone from Illinois WorkNet to resolve. Okay.
With your 3, I'm not worried about it because you've only got 3 on here. We can look at those, and that could be something that if you just send me their Illinois WorkNet customer numbers, I can look to see if there's something with those 3 particularly that we need to fix, and that could be a system issue.
Okay, so same goes for the no placements. I'll just send you their Illinois WorkNet IDs so you can check out what's going on there.
All right, because do you have them? Do you have those 4 that that, do you think you have a placement for them?
So at least two out of the four, I know for sure we had a placement. And they're currently actually working for one of them. So that's the issue we're having, was we did enter their placements through the career plan and everything, but somehow they're not reflecting under individuals that have received placement.
Okay, all right. Yes, you can send me those numbers. I will take a look at those. The subsidized beyond the 90 days, that just means that you have not taken away their subsidized wage. But if you need to upload payroll for any of the people that are in that list of 18, don't change it until you have the payroll uploaded. All right?
Okay.
All right. Does anybody else need something answered?
So I have another question which may not be related to Illinois WorkNet, but with some of the kids who are doing their work experience, we're currently having issues with childcare with the coronavirus pandemic, and childcare centers being closed and them having to kind of discontinue doing their work experience. Is it possible for us to pause their
Yes, you
placement?
can make them inactive. So let me get to a customer here. So let's say that it's Kim Chapman here. Hopefully she has a work experience on here. In the career plan, under her steps, she doesn't have one. All right, let me find somebody that has employment so that I can show you. All right, so customers who have subsidized. So we'll do Red House. This one's closed, but I can still show you, I believe. So if they're doing their job on the step that you're marking for them, there is a spot right here where it says status. You would mark them as on hold, and you have to do it from, if you find out that they've got on hold as of today, you need to do it the day that you find out, because that stops the clock.
Okay.
On
Can we
their
backdate it a day or two, or no?
A day or two isn't going to make a difference. Probably what you can then just do is wait a day or two before you add them back in.
Okay.
But the challenge will become if you wait 3 or 4 weeks and you're not uploading any payroll for them.
Gotcha.
All right. Who else has a question? All right. Does anybody else need to schedule a time to go over numbers or to have help for the numbers?
Yes, Dee. This is Evelyn from AACF. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we would like to go over our no placements,
Okay.
if that's possible.
Okay. So after the webinar is over, send me 3 times that you would be
Okay.
available for at least an hour,
Okay.
so that I can check my calendar for that.
That sounds good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Dee.
Hi, who's this?
This is Karina from Centers for New Horizons.
Okay.
So we have been working on it. The thing that we've noticed is that we have to backtrack from the beginning to make sure that the job site is through the career plan. So we've
Okay,
been trying to do all of them, starting from the beginning. I believe we should be able to upload very soon. We were just working on making sure that all of the job sites were because I did watch the last training, but it's a lot of them, so it's been taking us a little bit of time. If we
sure.
had other projects going on, but you should be seeing the upload with the payroll ledgers very soon.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. All right. Who else needs some guidance or wants to talk to me about your numbers?
Hey Dee, it's Anthony from St. Sabina. How are you
Hi,
doing?
good.
Good. So I wanted to ask about the close process because I know that that's something that Carrie said that she's very concerned about with the whole discharging of youth. My question has to do with whether or not we're able to discharge or close youth as soon as they get permanent employment, because that's not our experience. So she said as soon as we're comfortable, we're able to close them out. But when we're trying to do that once someone has permanent placement, we're still getting the follow-up is not complete because we haven't waited 30, 60, 90 days.
Because, yeah, and right now the system is saying you have to wait the 270 days. But that doesn't mean that you can't close out this employment part right here on the employment. You still have to do the follow-up whether or not you close out the customer or not. If you find that they have not worked past the 90 days or they've quit somewhere in that 180-day range, you can put an end date in the end date, and then you would be able to close out the customer.
Understood. Thank you so much.
All right.
But if you put the end date, does that mean the person will be closed out as not working?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is
So
negative?
that just
Okay.
means that they are no longer working at that job. That doesn't mean that you're closing them, but you can't close them out if they still have an open job until that end of that 270 days. And we are changing that for the next program year.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that does not count against us as if that person is still working, then that would be considered a negative closure, but then the person is still working,
If the person
right?
is still working, you leave that date empty. So if the person is working beyond the 180 days, but you just haven't gotten to the 270 days, then you have to wait until the end of that 270 days to actually close them out on the progress page.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it's not that it
Yes.
doesn't make sense, is that there are situations where it's just fine because I have people who are going from paid work experience in one place to permanent employment in a different place. So terminating them in the portal for paid work experience makes sense with what you just said. But if I wanted to say, okay, I'm very satisfied with the client who moved from paid work experience to permanent placement in the same place, right? Like I have a client in my mind right now. I'm like, okay, he's done well. He doesn't need any more support. That company picked him up from paid work experience and translated him into permanent employment. I can't do that until 270 days.
So the purpose of this grant initially was permanent employment. So if they're transitioning from paid work experience at one place and they're staying for permanent employment at the exact same place, the only difference that you have to do is take out the subsidized wage.
Okay, I understand.
Now, if they change companies completely, that's a different story. And then that means that you're going to have to do the follow-up for the 270 days again. So say they work at Walgreens for their 90 days for work experience. That job would end, and then they go to CVS for permanent employment. Then you enter that, and they start all over with this 270 days that are right here. So that's why you were supposed to hopefully be finding them employment at a place where they could retain and stay for their permanent employment. And I understand that that doesn't always happen, but you just need to know that you've got to start over on this clock. Okay. Anybody else need to talk about your numbers, have a question to ask, want to schedule a time with me? And I know some of the people that need the help aren't on the call, so.
Hi, Dee. It's LaDon Brumfield from UCAN.
Okay,
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We're working through all of the items you identified on your chart. So the payroll uploads, those are in the process of being uploaded.
Yay.
So we're continuing to work on those. We had some youth and eligibility review from prior years who we need to go in. We actually went through the list with my predecessor just to make sure that our understanding of their status was, that they had not moved forward in the program, because I think these folks had signed up, but they didn't move forward. And so they never changed their eligibility status to
Okay.
say that they weren't moving forward. And we've had some folks who have come in, even during this program year, they didn't move forward, and we were still giving them an opportunity to, at some point, return because we knew they had extenuating circumstances. So for those individuals, should we just go ahead and, say they're not moving forward, change their status, and then they can just submit another application if they do decide to
Yes,
move
I would
forward?
do that.
Okay. All right. And if we do have some additional questions, I'll shoot you an email.
Oh, sure, sure.
Time, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'd rather have you guys send me the emails with the questions than have the numbers look bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Dee, it's Anthony again.
Hi, Anthony again. When did you change your name?
From?
Your last name to again.
Oh, yeah, did not see that coming. Okay, so the way it's working with some of the criteria that are read, for example, when someone has not had their eligibility enrollment process finished, right? So they're kind of like the last person who just spoke reminded me of an issue one of my frontline staff brought to me. So the idea is you cannot do anything enrollment till you've done something about eligibility, right? That's how the progress bar works. Now, we can't fully verify eligibility when the person that we're working with hasn't brought in all the things that we're asking them to bring. So we may want, for example, to put the person on a waiting list, but we can't even get there until we verify them, right?
Correct.
Or if we want to say, okay, this person is trying to participate, we can't even get there until we verify them. And if we're waiting for documents to verify them, then they are stuck in limbo because they've already sent in an application. So now they're waiting for that verification / eligibility check from us. What would you have us do when we're dealing with clients who are just in between eligibility and enrollment? They're just not past eligibility yet.
All right, so what you're saying is not everything has been verified,
Correct.
and you're just waiting, and have you lost contact with them?
So in one or two cases, I can remember in my head that yes, we've lost contact, and we want to say, okay, you know what, let's close this person out. Now, in order to close this person out, we would not want them to count as a close with no positive outcomes. So how do we close them from the eligibility side?
So on here, the only thing that you have to have at this moment, and we're changing this for the next program year, is for the Social Security number. We're going to put a box here, not able to verify Social Security, because that's the hardest piece right now. But if you just put unable to verify in any of these pieces, then it switches it to unable to verify. But you have, at this moment, you have to have the Social Security number.
That's right.
So if you just click the unable to verify on 2 or 3 of these, then and you can enter the Social Security number, then it gives you the box down here, unable to verify. And
Well,
then
if
you
you
can
say
save it.
so. You know, I believe you. I'm going to try it. But, you know, once again, if we don't have the Social Security number, that solution you just said does not apply, correct?
Correct. And that's being fixed for next year. We're going to put a box here, unable to verify. Because like right now, if I tried to hit save, I wouldn't be able to, because I don't know what this customer's Social Security number is.
Right.
But if they're not bringing in whatever you need down here, then you can always say, you can always put the unable to verify, add the note, and then you can always add a case note and say last contact was blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so I would like to volunteer a suggestion. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So in the cases where we absolutely know that someone was invited to apply, they applied online and then ghosted us for whatever reason, maybe it's extenuating circumstances in their lives, maybe they just decided that they didn't want to pursue any kind of progress right now in their lives, is it possible for us to send an email with the list of those names that we just want to be purged from our system so we don't have to kind of jimmy it right now?
Let me check on that, because I don't know what that would do. Let me check on that. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm writing myself a note. And that's probably a good portion of a lot of these numbers, because kids are kind of flaky sometimes.
That's putting it nicely, Edie.
Yeah, people are kind of flaky sometimes. Okay.
I would agree. This is LaDon at UCAN. I would agree. Some of our numbers, you know, of the 65 that we have eligibility review are cases like that. And then also some of them are duplicate applications that we need to go through. So for instance, we have one candidate, I just looked her up. I knew she was enrolled in our program, but on our report, she's counting on that 65 under eligibility review, because for whatever reason, we weren't able to, like, she had 2 applications in the system. So we approved the one application, but then the other one, it looks like that she had before is still hanging out there. So we somehow need to purge that, and I'm not sure how we do that.
All right, I wrote that down as well. I will ask about the ghosted customers and the duplicate applications. So if you've got situations like this, I know that I will need the numbers and the associated information for those. So if you guys want to start a list
Okay.
of those numbers so that I know what it is that I'm going to ask you for.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I promise I'm not trying to pile on, so I'll wait for someone else to talk.
Come on, Anthony.
Are any of the other providers having this weird thing happen where someone tries to re-enroll so we can re-engage, and it keeps both the closed and the new, and just depending on what the way the moon is facing the sun, it'll give you one or the other.
Oh,
So let me explain what I mean. So someone is closed because we were satisfied at a particular time with their progress, or we lost touch with them because they stopped returning our calls. All well and good. They come back saying that they need services, and that's why we're here. So we say, well, we can't re-engage you by ourselves. You need to re-enroll. That's the new process that you guys have put forward. They go and they submit an application, and when we select the third application to say, for example, we want to verify this person, it brings up the old record stating that the person has already been verified, right? So the frontline staff is not able to verify them because they click on the new application, but it pulls up the old record.
all right. And you're making sure that they're looking at this where it says case status when they're clicking, because it'll say open or
Correct.
closed.
So correct. So
I would bring yours up except for recording.
Yeah, we default the selection, in the advanced series of criteria to open, right? So it only gives us those people who are not closed. And then just to be sure that I wasn't seeing things, I opened it to both open and close, and I could see the application submit date for the one that's current and the application submit date for the one that's closed. And it said closed on the side. So we made sure to click the right one. But then somewhere in the back end, whether it's the Salesforce thing or whatever it is spitting out, depending once again on, it's very random, right? So I've tried a number of things, clearing cache. I've tried to do it from an incognito window. I've tried a number of things to make it see nothing having to do with the past, but it still decides what it wants to decide to return the old or the new, and it's completely random.
Okay. And since it's completely random, what I'm going to ask you about is not going to be able to really be done, because I'm going to need screenshots or something when that happens so that I can share that with our programmers. But I will alert him to the issue so that if it does happen again, then he'll be aware of it. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? Everybody else knows how to fix all of this stuff, but just hasn't had the time to get it done. Is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is Fanny from Boys and Girls Club. I chimed in.
From where? I'm sorry, from where?
It's Fanny from Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago.
Yes.
And I chimed in like you were going over the color codes and the gold. And if you could explain to me just what the 0/20 means and the gold, you said that was from, hold it down. Thank you. I didn't see it.
So if there's two numbers there, the 0 and the 20 indicates the rows on the dashboard. So if I go back to the dashboard, we've got a yellow row here, and then we've got a red row that's the same piece, but one is a cautionary and the other one is you better get this done kind of thing. So if there's the two numbers, then you've got 20 in the red row. And like on this other one, you've got 59 in the red row. And then if there's no other number associated with it, then that's just the number. And then if it's red, it's either the same as the last time or it's over 15 in there. If it's got the lighter colored gold, it's the same as 2 times ago, meaning it was the same in January as it is now. And if it's got the dark gold, it's the same as it was in October of last year. So that's meaning y'all are not doing what you're supposed to be doing with these numbers. And if you need help with it, I am happy to schedule a one-on-one with you so that we can work through this. And
Okay.
that's for everybody.
Okay, thank you, because I know that, like everyone else says, some of it is duplicated, but we'll go through it again and see why the numbers did not change, because we have worked on it. But I'll email you, Dee. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, anybody else?
Hey, Yancy Ship from the Boys and Girls Club, Freeport.
Hi, Yancy.
Hello. Hey, I need to schedule a time where we can get together to see how I can take down that place.
All right. Send me an email with 3 times that you have at least an hour available, and I will check my schedule. This week, I'm trying to get some things done. Next week is a little bit clearer. So if y'all can keep that in mind, give me like a date this week and a date next week, or 2 dates next week.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, repeating what I said last time or earlier in the session, we are going to, next session on the 31st, we are going to go over the Employment 101 demonstration for the changes that I've been making to the program. You guys will be the first ones to see it, and you'll be able to give me some feedback. And we'll be going over, you know, there's 3 sections in Employment 101. We'll be going over that first section on the 31st, and then probably on the 7th, we'll be going over the last 2 sections. So that'll be good to be able to share that with you guys. So, oh, and Phalanx, so Phalanx sent a message they'd like to schedule. Okay, so Phalanx, send me 3 dates so that I can look at my schedule. Where did that just go? And let's see, who else? Okay, so Fanny, did you get the color codes that I was talking about? And I will be posting this.
Yes, I tried to take a picture of it, but it didn't come out clear.
Well, I'll post the spreadsheet on the partner page so you guys can see it.
Okay, thank you, Dee.
And Austin wants a one-on-one. So let me put that on here. Austin, Peoples. So let's take that up. And okay, so then Yancy, I got you. Phalanx, did I get you? Needs. All right, and who else in here. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this. I want to check back in on the attendance before we sign out today. So anybody from Austin People's Action Center? Boys and Girls Club from Chicago is here. Center for New Horizon.
I'm here. Karina from Center for New Horizons.
Okay. And then Austin People's Action Center.
Yes, we're here.
Okay. What about Madison County School? Employee Connections? JCFS?
Here, JCFS is here.
Yay, okay. And then Leadership Development Institute. Leslie Bates. Project Oz. Public Image Partnership.
Here.
Yay. Puerto Rican Cultural Center. I like saying Puerto Rican. Did I say it right if you're here? All right, St. Sabina, Universal Family Connection. West Side Health Authority. Did anybody from DHS make it on the call?
Oh, yes, I'm here, Dee.
Brandon, okay. And, all right. All right, so I think I got everybody here that's supposed to be. All right, does DHS have anything they want to say to everybody?
No, basically, we'll just keep sending out information as we get it about the remote work and everything.
All right.
It's a good time to catch up your numbers in workNet.
Yes, it is. That was a great reminder. All right, everybody. So we'll talk either before the 31st or on the 31st. And yes, ma'am.
Awesome People Action Center have a quick question. Sorry, I know we're good enough. Question for DHS.
Sure. Go ahead and ask.
What do we do with students that we have jobs and?
Wait, we can't hear you. You got to talk into the phone.
Okay. What are we doing, or what direction do we have regarding students that have been placed in work sites and those work sites are closed or are closed due to the coronavirus?
We talked about that. You got to just mark them on their page as inactive.
Mark them as paid inactive.
I'm trying.
As far as work, yeah, if they're asking about as far as the grant money from DHS, that was in the memo that was sent out yesterday, but they will still get paid. If that's what they're asking.
Well, are you asking about their time, or are you asking about extending the time?
Both. Yeah, asking about extending the time, and then, but if you could resend that memo.
So the students will still get paid. We are to pay the students even though they're not going to the work site.
Talk into your microphone, please.
Are we to pay the students still, although they're not going to their work site? That's the direct question. Sorry about that.
Brandon?
Yes, if their work site is being temporarily closed due to the coronavirus, then they can still get paid, yes.
Okay, understood.
And it's in the memo that was sent out to all the providers too.
Okay, Thank you for taking the time to answer that for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brandon, can you copy me on that memo, please?
It wasn't sent from me though. It was sent from someone to Carrie Reuter, and then Carrie Reuter sent it out.
All right. So
Brandon, this is Yancey.
I'm looking for it though.
Brandon, this is Yancey Ship. Could you forward that email to me?
Yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and just send it to my whole group.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Okay.
It's better to get it twice. Some people might complain, but it's better to get it twice than not get it at all, right?
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to follow up that, so then if we have participants who are at workspace that has been closed and they would, per you, still be paid, my assumption would be whatever their normal scheduled hours would have been, then we would not make them inactive in workNet, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Confirming that.
wait,
Thank you.
Brandon, you need to answer that. Because if they're getting paid, that's going to reduce their, if they're still getting payroll, that's going to reduce their 90 days of
Right.
of eligibility. So if they're getting paid just so that they're getting paid versus extending their 90 days of eligibility, then we need to know what to do in the system.
Yes, and also that's a specific circumstance to this program. I need to check with Carrie on that because this was a general memo that was sent out from DHS.
Yeah, the memo can indicate that the staff can continue to get paid. For example, if we're having to do remote or we can't open our facilities or something like that. I wasn't under the impression that applied to the YEP workers who are not, per se, our staff. So that's why I want to get clarity on that one. If you're saying that we can actually pay them in this case. Now, right now, they're also able to work. But if that comes to be, I just need to know that if we're supposed to pay them as scheduled or if we're just supposed to make them inactive for whatever time they're off and then resume their eligibility and their placement once their worksite reopens.
Okay, let me double check and I'll find out before I send out the answer on that to find out for sure.
Yeah, because so the question is, does their 90-day eligibility continue if they're being paid for corona absences?
Right. I'll find out about the payment and about the 90 days.
All right, because if it's not the 90 days, then they have to make everybody inactive.
Right. Oh, definitely.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right, I'm going to end the recording and send me the emails if you spoke up and you need some guidance. Send me an email with 3 dates that you're available. All righty?
All right.
Have a great
Thank
rest
you,
of your
Dee.
day. Stay healthy.
You too.
Social distancing. Bye.
Bye-bye.